Remember that moment when you felt completely disconnected, like your life was moving in one direction while your heart pulled in another? That painful split between who you are inside and the reality you face every day? Last year, after months of feeling this exact disconnect, I stood on a beach watching waves crash against rocks. Something clicked as I noticed how the tiny swirls in the sand perfectly mirrored the massive patterns of clouds overhead. In that moment, my inner conflict suddenly made sense. What if I told you this wasn't just a nice coincidence, but a glimpse of an ancient principle that could completely transform how you experience your life? A principle captured in 4 simple words: as above, so below. Hey, if this is your first time here and you're curious about finding practical wisdom in ancient teachings, hit subscribe and join our community. I promise we keep things real while exploring the extraordinary. As above, so below. These words might sound mystical, and they are, but they're also incredibly practical. They've guided everyone from ancient Egyptian priests to medieval alchemists to modern quantum physicists, all pointing to the same truth. Everything in existence is connected through patterns that repeat across all levels of reality. Think about it. Have you noticed how your worst days seem to pile disaster upon disaster, while your best days flow effortlessly? That's not random. According to this ancient principle, the patterns in your mind are creating corresponding patterns in your experience. And here's the exciting part. Once you understand how this works, you can use it to change everything. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this just another spiritual buzz phrase from Instagram? Nope. While your favorite influencers might use this concept to sell meditation apps, as above, so below has much deeper roots. Let me take you on a quick time travel journey. Imagine it's somewhere between the 6th and 8th centuries. While Europe is struggling through the Dark Ages, the Middle East is experiencing a golden age of knowledge. In this vibrant intellectual landscape, a mysterious document appears that will change esoteric thought forever: the Emerald Tablet. At its heart was this mind-blowing statement: that which is above is like to that which is below, and that which is below is like to that which is above, to accomplish the miracle of the one thing. Okay, but who wrote this? That's where it gets interesting. Legend attributes it to a figure called Hermes Trismegistus, basically a combination of the Greek messenger god Hermes and the Egyptian wisdom god Thoth. Was he real? Maybe, maybe not. But the wisdom attributed to him was so influential that some scholars consider it the underground river feeding Western spiritual thought for centuries. But here's what blows my mind. This wasn't just some obscure concept gathering dust in forgotten scrolls. As it spread through medieval Europe, it became the foundation of alchemy. And no, alchemy wasn't just about turning lead into gold. That was a metaphor for something much deeper: personal transformation. The wild thing? Almost every major civilization came up with some version of this same principle. In Egypt, they built entire pyramids based on the idea that earthly structures should mirror celestial patterns. Their famous line, "On earth as it is in heaven," isn't just poetic, it was architectural. Meanwhile, in China, Taoist masters were observing how the veins in a leaf look eerily similar to river systems when viewed from above. They realized these weren't random similarities, but evidence of universal patterns. And in India, yogis were teaching that your body is literally a miniature version of the universe. They even mapped cosmos locations to points in your body, which is why yoga isn't just exercise, it's cosmic alignment. Seriously, how weird is that? These cultures couldn't text each other or jump on Zoom calls. No shared TikToks or viral YouTube videos. Yet they all independently arrived at basically the same understanding. Everything above mirrors everything below, and vice versa. What did they all see that we might be missing in our busy modern lives? So what does "as above, so below" actually mean in practice? Let me break it down in a way that might just blow your mind. You know those Russian nesting dolls? The universe works kind of like that. Patterns repeat themselves at different scales. The big stuff, macrocosm, and the tiny stuff, microcosm, mirror each other in ways that can't possibly be coincidence. Check this out. When astronomers mapped the cosmic web connecting galaxies, it looked freakishly similar to our brain's neural networks. When scientists model how water drains in your sink, the vortex follows the same mathematical patterns as spiral galaxies. Your DNA's double helix structure, it reflects the same mathematical principle, the golden ratio, found in hurricane formations. I mean, seriously, how crazy is that? It's like the universe is obsessed with certain patterns and keeps using them over and over at different scales. This hit home for me in a weird way last year. I was going through a really chaotic period. Relationship drama, work stress, even my apartment flooded. Everything felt like it was spiraling out of control. One morning while journaling, something I rarely did before, I noticed how scattered and jumbled my thoughts were on the page. My handwriting was all over the place, sentences incomplete, and it hit me. My external chaos was perfectly mirroring my internal chaos. Or was it the other way around? When I started creating more order in my thoughts through daily meditation and journaling, the weirdest thing happened. My external life began organizing itself too. Conflicts resolved, solutions appeared, even my living space stayed tidier with the same effort. That's not woo-woo magic, it's this principle in action. Your inner world creates patterns that your outer world tends to match. Change one, and you change the other. Here's a quick experiment you can try right now. Think about an area of your life that feels chaotic or stuck. Now ask yourself, what corresponding pattern might be happening in your thoughts, beliefs, or emotions? The answer might surprise you, but this goes way beyond self-help. Scientists are finding evidence of this principle everywhere. When physicists discovered quantum entanglement, where particles remain connected regardless of distance, they basically rediscovered what mystics had been saying for centuries about the interconnectedness of all things. When biologists map how river systems branch, they find the same patterns as in our lungs. When economists track market fluctuations, they find fractal patterns similar to coastlines and mountain ranges. Still skeptical? That's healthy. I was too. But try this perspective. Two people experience the exact same event, say getting stuck in traffic. One person sees it as the universe conspiring against them, gets stressed, honks the horn, and arrives at work angry. Another sees it as extra time to enjoy a podcast, practice patience, and arrives calm. Same external reality, completely different experience, all because of their internal patterns. That's as above, so below, happening in your everyday life. The massive implication, there's no real separation between what's out there and what's in here. Change one and you change the other. How's that for practical ancient wisdom? So we've established this is a universal principle, but how have different traditions actually used it? This is where it gets practical and honestly pretty mind-blowing. Let's talk about those mysterious alchemists first. You probably know them as the medieval guys trying to turn lead into gold, right? But that's only half the story. These weren't just early failed scientists. They were psychological pioneers. When they worked with metals in their labs, they believed they were simultaneously transforming themselves. Mind, blown. Think about it. When they wrote about purifying lead into gold, they were using code language. The lead was their own psychological baggage: fear, attachment, ignorance. The gold was enlightened consciousness. So when they heated materials in their crucibles, they were also turning up the heat on their own discipline and spiritual practice. When they separated elements, they were learning to distinguish between different aspects of their own nature. Every single laboratory process had a corresponding inner process. Isn't that incredible? These weren't just failed scientists. They were developing a complete system of personal transformation disguised as chemistry. This principle shows up everywhere once you start looking. When Jesus taught his disciples to pray, "On earth as it is in heaven," he wasn't just being poetic. He was invoking this exact same principle, that patterns in the spiritual realm should manifest in the physical realm. Quick side note, ever wonder why so many spiritual traditions involve raising your hands in prayer? It's literally acting out as above, so below, connecting heaven and earth through your body. In Jewish mysticism, they map this whole system with something called the Tree of Life, basically a cosmic flowchart showing how divine energy moves from the infinite down to our physical world, with each level mirroring the one above it. And Buddhism? Their core teaching about dependent origination is basically saying everything arises from causes that mirror each other across different scales. Exactly the same principle. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, astrology. I can feel some of you rolling your eyes already. But regardless of whether you believe stars influence your personality, here's what's fascinating. Astrology was one of humanity's first attempts to map correspondences between cosmic patterns and human experience. The phrase "as above, so below" is literally the foundation of astrological practice. And while modern science may question its literal claims, psychology's founding father, Carl Jung, saw astrology as a sophisticated symbolic system that reflected the human psyche. Here's what amazes me. All these traditions, from different continents, different eras, different languages, all circled around the same core insight. They just used different metaphors and practices to express it. It's like they all glimpse the same underlying pattern to reality. Okay, but is this just ancient history and philosophical mumbo-jumbo? Not even close. This principle is alive and kicking in our modern world, just wearing different clothes. Let's start with the mind-bender, quantum physics. Remember the famous double-slit experiment? It showed that particles behave differently when observed versus unobserved. Translation: consciousness affects physical reality. The observer and the observed aren't separate. They're part of the same system. Think about that for a second. Modern science has literally proven that your consciousness participates in creating the reality you experience. When physicists discovered this, they were basically rediscovering what mystics had been saying for thousands of years. Then there's the whole field of fractal geometry. When mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot developed fractal math in the 1970s, he showed how simple algorithms create patterns that repeat at different scales. Exactly what "as above, so below" describes. These patterns are everywhere in nature, in broccoli florets, in lightning bolts, in your own lungs and blood vessels. But let's get super practical. How can understanding this principle actually improve your life? Here are 3 ways I've seen this work in real life. First, your mental state creates your perception filter. Have you ever had a day where you woke up grumpy, then spilled your coffee, then got cut off in traffic, then your boss was in a bad mood, and it felt like the whole world was against you? That's this principle in action. Let me get personal for a minute. Last year, I hit a serious creative block with this channel. Nothing felt right. Scripts were flat, filming felt forced, views were down. I was stuck in a pattern of frustration. Then one morning, instead of diving straight into work, I took a hike in the hills behind my house. As I watched the sun rise, something shifted. I realized my creative block wasn't just about the work. It was reflecting a deeper disconnection from what inspired me in the first place. That very day, I started a new morning routine focused on reconnection with nature, with my original purpose, with my audience. That's you. Within 2 weeks, everything changed. My creative flow returned, video quality improved, and channel growth followed. The external reality shifted when my internal reality changed. Second application. Your external environment affects your internal state. This is the flip side of the principle. Your physical space reflects and influences your mental space. Take a look at your workspace right now. Is it chaotic or organized? Bright or dim? Inspiring or draining? Whatever it is, it's both reflecting and reinforcing your mental patterns. Change your environment, and you help change your inner state. Third, visualization works because it applies this principle deliberately. Athletes who visualize perfect performance activate the same neural pathways as physical practice. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between vivid imagination and actual experience. They create similar patterns. This concept is so powerful, it keeps showing up in popular culture. Remember that mind-blowing scene in Interstellar where they communicate across dimensions through gravity? Or how about the Netflix series Dark that literally uses as above, so below as a plot device? Or the horror movie directly titled As Above, So Below that plays with mirror dimensions? These aren't just entertaining stories. They're modern myths that tap into something we intuitively recognize as true. The ancient wisdom hasn't changed. We've just found new ways to express it through our modern storytelling. Here's a challenge. For the next 24 hours, look for patterns that repeat at different scales in your life. How does your relationship with yourself mirror your relationships with others? How does your home environment reflect your mental state? I guarantee you'll start seeing connections everywhere. As we draw our exploration to a close, let's crystallize the essence of As Above, So Below, and its significance for your journey. This principle reveals that separation is an illusion. The boundaries we perceive between inner and outer, between mind and matter, between the cosmic and the personal, these are conceptual distinctions, not fundamental divisions in reality itself. The universe operates through correspondence, with patterns repeating across different scales and dimensions. By recognizing these patterns, you gain the ability to work with them consciously rather than being unconsciously shaped by them. Your consciousness is not separate from the reality you experience. It is an active participant in creating that reality. By understanding the correspondence between your inner state and your outer experiences, you gain a profound tool for transformation. As the Hermetic axiom states, the universe is mental. Not in the sense that physical reality doesn't exist, but that consciousness and materiality are interdependent aspects of the same unified whole. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of this ancient wisdom is how it honors both the vastness of the cosmos and the depth of human experience. It tells us that when we gaze at the stars, we are not looking at something alien or separate from ourselves. We are recognizing patterns that exist within us. And when we journey inward through meditation or self-reflection, we are not retreating from the world. We are exploring the same fundamental reality that expresses itself in galaxies and quantum particles. We've traveled from ancient Arabic texts to modern quantum physics, From alchemical laboratories to everyday applications, we've seen how this simple phrase, as above, so below, contains a profound truth about the nature of reality itself. But knowledge becomes wisdom only through application. I invite you to begin noticing the correspondences in your own life. How do your internal patterns manifest in your external experiences? Where do you see the same principles operating at different scales in nature? How might conscious shifts in your inner state create corresponding changes in your outer reality? If you found value in this exploration, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe to our channel and join our community of seekers. Each video we create aims to unveil another aspect of the perennial wisdom that connects us all. Share your insights and experiences in the comments below. How have you witnessed as above, so below operating in your own life? What correspondences have you recognized between your inner and outer worlds? Remember, this principle isn't merely an ancient philosophical concept. It's a living truth that operates in every moment of your existence. By recognizing it, you awaken to the profound interconnectedness of all things. Until our paths cross again, remember, the veil between worlds is thinner than you think. The cosmos exists within you as surely as you exist within it. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul.